Welcome to the Heart to Heartland podcast. Here are your hosts.
Welcome back to Heartland, and it's another solo episode with me this week. It's just me, Soile here, and I also don't feel like doing updates this week, so I'm just gonna jump right in with today's theme. And because it was another solo episode, I was thinking like, what's something that's kind of like specifically me and what's kind of like something I could talk about for an hour or so. So I came to think about my blogging, which was basically my way into the fandom. Well, fan fictions first, but then officially it was blogging. I did a post on our Instagram page and asked you guys to submit some questions because I don't know what's interesting. I didn't even know if this was going to be interesting, but you submitted a lot of questions, so maybe we'll see. So yeah, I want to thank everyone who submitted. It was less than 24 hours, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa! I need to stop it right here because I don't want to make this too long. So let's just jump right in. So the first question is kind of coming from two different usernames, Anne Mary Catherine and No Context Heartland. They had a similar question, so I just lumped them together. Mary Catherine asks, when did the idea for your blog come? How long did you think about it before deciding to do it? And then No Context Heartland asked, what made you decide you wanted to start your blog? So, how long did you think about it before deciding to do it? I didn't think about it that long, to be honest. I just wanted a place where I could kind of store everything I did relating to the show because I started out back when they used to have this forum on the official site. So it was kind of narrow what they did there. Like people were talking about the show, but there weren't like pictures or videos or anything like that. But I wanted to store them somewhere where I could go back and sort of then create more stuff myself. And that was back in March 2012. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to do this and we'll see what happens. Like, I wasn't planning on doing it for 10 years, but here we are. I don't know how long I will do it. I'll do it for as long as I feel like it and as long as it's fun. But yeah, it's been a long journey and I've enjoyed it very much. So it was a good rash decision, I guess. And then Mary Catherine continues, how did you get the idea for the format and style of it? Started out with editing scenes that I liked. I used to like do a collection of pictures from that scene and write out the dialogue. So it kind of not only made me really go deep into the scene, but also it helped me learn a little bit more of the language and the slang and like the way everyone talked. So that's how it kind of started out. But then I started to repost the stills they posted on their official side and some updates like, oh, there's a new season coming and stuff like that. And eventually I started making GIFs. And after a while, I sort of, because there was a lot of vlogs at the time, I wanted mine to be a little more informative than it was before that. So I started to post news and spoilers. I tend to post things that bring me joy or that I find interesting or beautiful. So that's just kind of how it slowly went. I never really like planned things. I just did what I felt worked for me. And that's how the style kind of came to be. And speaking of the next question, it's kind of related to this. It's again from Mary Catherine, and she said, what made you choose Tumblr? I was on the platform already because of other fandoms, And for those who don't know Tumblr that well, there's a lot of things people post there. It could be personal, or it could be photography or information, or whatever you want. But for me, Tumblr has always been about the fandoms. It's where I usually get my news about new TV shows, or I see movies that I want to watch. So I felt like it was really fitting platform for something like what I wanted to do. There wasn't much Heartland stuff at the time, so I wanted to be one of those who would bring Heartland to Tumblr and kind of spread the word. It also feels like Tumblr is very versatile in a way, because you can post audio, video, text, GIFs, quotes, whatever. So I thought it was very fitting because of that as well, and easy for me to use and easy for the followers to use. The next question comes from New Chat Gallery, and she said, first of all, thank you for your works. My question is, I know some blogs that just focus on one character and one actor, but you always try to collect all the news or stills from all the characters, and always from sources that we can trust. How do you do this? It can be kind of hard because I'm a perfectionist. So I want to have it all the time, from everywhere. But over the years, I've come to kind of remind myself that I'm just one person, and it's not possible for me to see everywhere or spot everything. So I try to do as much as I can, but I still know that there's probably a lot out there that I don't get to see. Over the years, I've kind of gathered this knowledge of which sources to trust. Obviously, like CBC, or the official platforms for the show, or the cast members or the crew members. Then when it comes to other sites, I've either witnessed something that they've stated or published or put out come true. So I've sort of started to know which sites are legit. And the ones that I'm suspicious about, I don't post about, because I don't want to spread false information. I feel like it's important because there are a lot of ways people can make something look legit, but then it isn't. But you have to be able to kind of have that history with something to be able to kind of nitpick what's wrong with it. And I have posted some like rumors, like right now I've posted some teasers about season 16, even though there's not official word from the official source, which is the official platforms, or Amber, or whoever. But the sources have been the ones that I know are reliable or legit. Like first it was like Directors Guild of Canada, or the unions that provide staff for the show. So I feel like those are legit. And now as time passes on, we've heard from the writers and some of the cast members that they're started to talk about season 16, that it's happening and they're going back to Alberta this summer, and stuff like that. So it really just supports what's been put out. I don't know, like over the years you just get kind of this instinct about who to trust or what to trust. And I think just doing a little bit of Googling sometimes can take you a long way. Next, I had two similar questions, so I'm just going to put them together again. HL Horses said, how do you find material from news sources? Like, how do you find out about them? For example, that Jessica Steen podcast that came out last week, that's not a normal place, I don't think. How did you find that and stuff like that that's not from your usual places, not just podcasts? And No Context Heartland asked, how do you find all the new content to blog about? Well, first of all, I have a lot of tabs open on my computer that I check kind of regularly, from different places that I know will at some point hopefully update something new. I don't believe in bookmarks, so it's a disaster waiting to happen that one day I'll just close the tab and it's gone. But I've been good so far. Then I follow a lot of random people I know that has some affiliation with the show, the cast, the crew, like directors that have worked on the show before, or crew members that have gone to other projects, or just people that work in the industry. So sometimes that gives me some new information. I also have a lot of spy friends who come across things sometimes, and then they send them to me and like, have you seen this? And I'm like, no, I haven't, thank you. It's really been beneficial to make friends in the fandom because, like I said, I blog about the cast and the show overall. So my focus isn't just in one person. So I have some friends who are focused more on one actor or character. So they come across things sometimes. And that's how some of that stuff comes to me, like that Jessica Steen stuff. I also follow tags on Instagram that I think will hopefully at some point have something interesting. And some of it comes from Google alerts. A lot of the time, all of this is kind of fruitless. But when there's new information, it feels like you found a rare Pokemon card or ice hockey card. I don't know what kids are collecting these days, but it feels like this gem that you found and you can't wait to share with others. I also sometimes do these like I don't know what to call it, like going into a rabbit hole. Like I find a new still and I start to follow different links that lead to other sites. And sometimes I can be, finding new pictures or interviews or whatever for like 2 hours straight and just like saving them for later. So it's a lot. It's a juggling different platforms, making connections, and sometimes just dumb luck because the last time we were recording with Izzy, before we start to record, we just go through things we want to talk about. And I Googled the name of the festival Michelle Nolan did. And I happened to come across this new article that I had not seen. So it was like, oh, wait, there's new stuff. So sometimes that happens. Yeah, but a lot of it is just like waiting for something to happen. The next question comes from Heartland Lisa BFC. We know how fabulous your blog is, but do you have a fave blog you like to read too? I used to. I mean, the official blog was like the best. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like it from any with any other fandom. And it's a shame that it's no longer how it used to be. And we really didn't know how good we had it when we had it. But the blog that really made me even want to give this whole blogging thing a chance was Val's live journal, Lost Sheep, I think it was called, about Chris Potter. She was so organized, and the way she blogged was very approachable, even if you weren't like a big Chris and Tim fan. I just felt like that was kind of what I wanted to do, but with Heartland in general, but also give it all my own twist. I feel like these days people don't really block that actively, or maybe I just don't have that in my radar because I feel like everything is very social network focused, like Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So I don't know if I have a favorite blog right now. But of those two, the official blog and Val's Lost Sheep, blog. It's just like the best. The next question comes from Lisa as well. How has your blog changed from when you first started to now? Is content becoming more easier to have access to? Heartland just seems to keep growing, so does that help with meeting demand to keep up, etc.? The content is in a way easier to find because it's everywhere, especially on social media. But at the same time, a lot of the information or like stills I used to get came from the official site or from Heartland social media platforms. And since those two are not active with like set pictures or daily tweets or whatever, sometimes finding things can be hard. But the thing I feel like is kind of a good thing with my blog is that I post very different things. So I feel like I always have something to post about. So that helps. There have been times when people have asked why don't I do better job keeping up, especially lately. But it can be a bit overwhelming, especially because you want to keep up with everything. And especially lately, there have been a lot of podcasts and audio interviews, which for me take a little while because I don't always feel like listening to other people speak. So those kind of things can be kind of hard to get around posting because I always want to be sure what I'm posting is legit, and I try to kind of moderate a little bit so there's nothing too triggering for people, so I can put like a trigger warning or content warning or just tag them properly with things that people might find interesting or will later use to find it again. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people interested in Heartland content. I feel like they just want to have an easy access to it, which is, understandable. But I try not to stress about it too much because it's a hobby and I want to keep it fun. There's a lot of demand, but I just try to keep my schedule the way that it has been for years now, so it's easier for me to manage. Then Michelle Morgan Love asks, is sourcing new material difficult, especially during hiatus? I know you always find a way though. It can be, but at the same time, since my topic is kind of wide, it's about Heartland, the cast, and there are so many seasons, there's always something to post, really. I also used to do theme weeks on my blog to sort of challenge myself to find posts around that subject because there was so much content. So I tried to kind of focus on one thing. I no longer do those with my blog. I used to do them between seasons, but I do them with my Instagram. I feel like the platforms are so different, so it's easier for me that way because on Tumblr I post pictures and GIFs and edits and news and fan fiction and all that stuff, whereas Instagram has kind of limited opportunity. Like you can post videos, but they can be a lot of work. I used to do music videos, but with the copyright music and all that, you sort of had to find ways to be able to post them, which it's understandable, but it can be a lot of work. So for Instagram, theme weeks work better at the moment. The next question comes from Lisa. Do you get requests for particular content and what content spikes the most interest? I sometimes get requests. I usually rotate the characters or cast members that I post about, but I would say it's rare if there's no Amber or Amy at least once per day. Ty and Amy posts are usually the most popular ones, but lately I've seen more interest around Jack and Lisa content, which is nice. I do gifts requests sometimes when I'm not super busy, and I like those because I get to kind of see what people like and what kind of things they would like to reblog. I post 5 posts per day, and I typically try to have something from behind the scenes, 2 cast related posts like a selfie or a photo shoot, either gift set or a video and then a still from the episode. So I try to have a little something for everyone. I've also noticed, I think I've done like a spoiler master list since season 7 or around that time, and that has kind of developed over the years to be more specific and more informative. I think people find those interesting. So, spoilers or on set pictures or videos. The next question comes from Lisa as well. As the writer of a blog, how do you deal with negative feedback? There used to be more of that, but I feel like it's toned down a bit, not only because I feel like the Tumblr fandom has kind of gotten more quiet, but I also feel like the fact that I turned off the opportunity to comment anonymously, it has probably played a big part of it and as well. But it's just because I feel like if you're gonna say something, you should say it with your own voice and with your own name or face or whatever, just your own identity attached. If you cannot say it like that, then maybe you shouldn't say it. So that's part of the way that I've dealt with hate or harsh comments. When I think back, I've also grown a lot myself. I started blogging when I was in my early 20s. Now I'm in my early 30s. So I've grown a lot. When I started, I was still trying to figure out the world, myself, and how to kind of be around other people from different backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like getting more comfortable with those things and with myself and just finding my place in the fandom has helped me kind of deal with negative feedback. I know myself more, so it doesn't faze me as much if I feel like there's a disconnect with the feedback and who I am or what I do. Another question from Lisa. What are your favorite blog topics? I do enjoy posting gift sets. It's fun to kind of think which scenes would work as gifts because sometimes still doesn't do the trick. You can't always have those like funny facial expressions or movements or whatever in them. So I do enjoy doing those. And I also do enjoy the on-set stuff they post when they're filming. Like that's the best. I also do daily roundups whenever they're filming. So stuff I find from the set, like videos, Instagram stories, pictures. They used to be daily tweets that have since sadly ended existing. I do enjoy putting those pieces together because it's like a puzzle. While I do post these things, sometimes there are things that I might not notice, and then people come back like, wait, did you see that truck in that picture? Like, does that mean that this is happening? And I'm like, wait, like what? So it's really fun to kind of have those Sherlock Holmes moments with other fans. So I think that really adds to it as well. But I also like new stills, from the episodes, and episode titles are also the best because it really gets those creative juices flowing. The next question comes from No Context Heartland. How much time do you spend on running your blog? And also just thank you for doing it because it's not a job and I appreciate you for it. Thank you. It depends on the week. If I know I have a busy week coming, I usually sit down for a few hours either during Sunday or Monday or Tuesday and just schedule posts for the upcoming week. Then I also try to write a new chapter for my fanfiction every week, which can take one or two or more hours depending on the chapter that I'm writing here, or if I need to do more background search or look into words that I don't know in English. So sometimes when I'm busy, I'm just like, I can't do it. I have to like just, learn to give up something. And that's usually the first one to go. Then on top of that, I would say this is part of my blog cinematic universe. I have this podcast, and we film, and then I do the editing because we take turns with Izzy. And then if there's more updates, it can take more time because like during season 14 when there was a lot of press and videos and pictures and everything coming out, so it took a while to keep up with everything. So I would say on a regular week, maybe 5 hours per week. But on a more busier week, like let's say they're filming and there's new promo coming out from episodes they've already filmed, like could be 10 hours, And like Rachel said, this is not my job, so I do this on top of my actual job and other lives. So it's a juggle sometimes, but as long as it's fun, I'll be happy to do it. Another question from No Context Heartland. Do you make gifts yourself, and how did you learn to do that? Yes, I do make gifts myself. I would say a lot less these days because I just feel like there's a lot going on for some reason all of a sudden. So back in the day, like this is 2013-ish or something like that, I screen cap scenes like press play and stop, and then I screenshotted the picture and play and stop, like the next second. And I did series of pictures from a scene, and then I put them together through this online gift maker. But they were kind of choppy. Whenever I saw gifts that were more smooth and looked better and had more light and nicer colors, I wanted to learn how to do it better. And that's when I started doing them with Photoshop. And I learned through different tutorials, like from Tumblr, like written out, or videos from YouTube. Just kind of trial and error sometimes. It can sometimes take a long time, especially if I want to use the DVDs for the edits, because I have to rip the clip, convert it into a file that Photoshop will then be able to read. Then I have to cut the scene, you know, clean out the frames I don't need, do a little bit of coloring. Sometimes I add subtitles, and the size has to be smaller than 8 MB. Usually, Tumblr only allows for you to post like 10 pictures per set, unless you do more advanced magic, which I don't have time for at the moment. Then you upload them, post them, style the post, like at the episode name and season and episode number and all that, tag it. So sometimes it can actually take hours depending what kind of set I'm making. So this is why it annoys me when I see people reposting them, because it literally takes them like 5 seconds. And for me, that was like 1 to 2 hours of my free time for other people's entertainment. So it can be a little annoying at times, especially with Pinterest basically sucking posts from Tumblr, and then people just don't find you through that. So they just assume that those people on Pinterest are the source. Michelle Morgan Love asked, how do you feel the online blog fandom has changed over the years, and how does it feel connecting with people about your faves? I feel like it has changed a lot in many different ways. I feel like there's a lot less buzz around it in a way, at least in the blogging world. I know there's a lot of things going on Facebook and Instagram and all that, but like since we have a lot less things from the official sources like the blog and social platforms, it's kind of up to us to kind of keep the hype going. Which is sad because I do remember a time when we got like Tuesday time killers and Thursday blog dates and first minutes and all that fun stuff. Like there was Heartland app and everything. Like what a time to be in the fandom. And now it's kind of like, here's an episode, enjoy. Like kind of sad because the stuff around the show is also what we live for. I also feel like there's been this weird uprising of clickbait videos on YouTube, which just seems so random. Of all the shows in the world, Heartland feels one of the less clickbaity shows that I would imagine to be getting these clickbait videos. So that has been weird. A little annoying even because it's like there's a lot of videos spreading false information. As for the other question, and how does it feel connecting with people about your faves? Feels good. I mean, for the longest time, obviously, this is coming from Michelle Morgan Love, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Lou. She was not really that talked about, or she was talked in a negative manner. I mean, still is, but I feel like there's been much more love toward her character, so it's been nice to see because I enjoy her character. I enjoy everyone's character. So it's nice to see what people think about her character and, what kind of ideas they have for her character. Like if some things were to happen, like how would they deal with those or think about that? So it's been fun. And I also feel like there's been a lot of interest in Jack and Lisa. So that has been great as well because I always feel like Ty and Amy, while I get the hype, I also feel a little bad because there's a lot of other couples in the show that are interesting and worth noticing, like Jack and Lisa, for example. I do enjoy seeing more people being actively involved with conversations involving them, or like Tim even. People have come around with his character more. Like, I don't know, it just makes the conversations more interesting when different characters are involved. So I do enjoy that very much. Yeah. No Context Heartland asks, what's the craziest experience you've had because of your blog? With the fan, the show, a friend, anything like? The first thing that comes to mind is season 10, season 11 leaker. I might make a video about that someday, but yeah, there was someone that contacted me because they knew about my blog and they were giving me information about season 10 while they were filming, and yeah, I'll just make you wait for the video. Then, when we were going to Canada for the first time back in 2016, I had told my sister who came along with me, she didn't know about my blog or how much time I spent with the show, but we had obviously planned to go to see some of the sites we've seen on the show because she watches it very casually. So when I got a text message from a Heartland friend of mine that we would be going to the studio, I was like, okay, how do I explain this to her? Because I can't just say, well, I just happened to come across this thing, because there's going to be people there who know me through the blog. So I had to come sort of clean with her, like, I have this blog thing, and because of it, this PR person knows me, so they've asked me to come to the studio, and yeah, we're going there. So it quickly went casual to hardcore. Another thing was the opportunity to interview the writers, because I was asked who I would want to interview. And over the years, we've seen a lot of interviews from the cast members. So I asked if I could interview the writers, which I did. So that was a really fun and great experience. And so was seeing the rough cut of Hudson, the digital series, before anyone else, and being able to get feedback of that. I don't think all those things would have happened to me if I wouldn't have this blog. So it's been a wild ride sometimes. Michelle Morgan Love says, how does it feel to be the queen bee of blogs in the Heartland fandom? Am I? There's not a lot of blogs out there, so I mean, I guess in a way, but I don't know. It feels weird that people know about me, even though I'm very much aware that I'm, putting all of this out there, but it's just it feels sort of lonely because you're in your apartment and doing all these things and then you just put them out and that's it. Like not a lot of things happen like physically. But I do remember this one moment when I was in Canada back in 2018. This was when we were on set when they were filming season 12. I was with the show's publicist. We were just talking about something. And this nice lady comes up to us and she's like, hey, I know you. You're Heartlandian's blog. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how do you even, like, how? And it was such a nice moment because she was very sweet, but I couldn't believe it that she would know me because I didn't really put myself out there that way. So she was able to recognize me for some reason. That was kind of out of body experience, but a good memory. For the last question, no context Heartland said, what is the most rewarding part of running your blog? Whenever people reblog something or they react to something I've posted, or if they ask me, hey, do you know if there's insert something here? And I know just the thing, like, wasn't there a scene or do you know in which episode or something like that? And I can just go through my tags and be like, here you go. Like, here's the thing you were looking for. And that's really rewarding. I obviously don't know or remember everything, but whenever I can help, that's the best part for me. Then, as the final comment, Lisa Can Forever said, all my questions have already been asked. Thank you so much for your blog, the podcast, and for everything you do. Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. It's nice if people find something that I do fun or enjoyable or helpful in any way. And I mean, we all share the passion and love for this show. So it's fun to kind of think back to 10 years when I just started to do this for my own fun, and now it's become more this thing, and it's really part of my daily routine, and not a day goes by when I don't think about Heartland or the other fans, other fandom, or whatever. It's been ups and it has been downs, all the bumps and curve balls and everything. But at the end of the day, it's been really fun experience, and yeah, I hope that it continues to be that way because life can be so stressful and we just need something fun to hold on to, something fun to come back to and share these experiences with other people because it helps us understand the world a little bit better. And I know that's really deep for me talking about blogging, but I feel like it's much more than that in some way. But anyway, thanks for coming to this TED Talk of Heartland blogging. I hope you found some of this interesting, if not all. And hopefully we will see Izzy back next week. Who knows? But until then, keep your noses clean and your powder dry, as they say.